Hey everybody, welcome. I'm just popping on because I wanted to come on and chat with you. The last one I did of these was pretty popular, so I thought I would come on again and we can do a little bit of chatting. If you have any questions, feel free to post. I'll try my best to answer, but if I don't get them here, then repost them on my Facebook page and I will touch base with you there, or you can email me at info@kahvo.com. If you haven't chatted with me before, if you're new, welcome. I am a holistic nutritionist and I specialize in fertility and preconception care. So, we really work on taking a more natural approach, just weighing out different options that maybe you've never considered before. So it's really, really important to me that I share with you the information that I know from my schooling and training, but also from my personal experience through fertility struggles. So welcome. If you want to know more about me and my story, the things that I offer, head on over to my website. You can see that at www.katiekahvo.com. So that's KATIEKAHVO.com. Or you can come on over to my Facebook, which if you found this video, you probably already know about. It's just Facebook.com/KatieKahvo or you can come on over to my Facebook group, which is a private group where everyone is welcome, and it's just a safe community where we chat about all things, no judgment, and you can get support and help from your peers. So that is called Fertile Beginnings. So again, just go to Facebook.com/groups/Fertile Beginnings / enter and that should take you there. So today I wanted to talk to you about the thyroid and how that relates to fertility. And I think the big thing that triggered me for wanting to talk about this today is because I have been watching a really cool documentary series called The Thyroid Secret, and it's by Dr. Izabella Wentz, and she is a pharmacist in the States who was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid disease, an autoimmune thyroid disease, herself, and it's become like a huge passion for her to be sharing this, and she's spent like a decade now learning about this and sharing it with everyone, and she's really, really knowledgeable and a cool lady to listen to if you have questions about thyroid. So I've been really enjoying that documentary, and because thyroid and fertility are really commonly linked, I thought I would just come on and chat with you a little bit about it. So I made some notes over here, so if you see me glancing away, I'm probably just reading my notes. Now, the thyroid. So what is the thyroid? That's a good place to start. The thyroid is actually a gland in your neck, so it's generally just underneath your Adam's apple. If you've ever been to the doctor and they start poking around at your neck, there's a good chance that they're checking your thyroid gland, because if it does get really swollen, you can actually feel it, because it's that close to the surface, which is pretty cool. Hi, Lisa. Welcome. So the thyroid gland is in your neck. And it secretes the thyroid hormone. Now, the thyroid hormone can affect many, many things in your body. One of the most common and popular things that people know about is your metabolism. So those of you that have a lot of problems with weight, whether that's weight gain or weight loss, this is a really common thing with thyroid. So, if you're going through fertility struggles and you've been trying like crazy to lose weight because your doctor's told you that, that's what you need to do, and, you've been eating really healthy and you're exercising and you feel like you're doing all the right things and nothing's happening and you're not getting the results that you want to see, then there's a really good chance that your thyroid could be affecting that. So definitely go to your doctor and get them to run some tests for you, which I'll talk about in a few minutes, so which tests you should ask for. So metabolism is a really big one for thyroid, and when it comes to metabolism as well, temperature. So if you're one of those people who, if you go to your friend's house, they always joke with you that you're always like the really cold one in the room and you always need an extra sweater, or your hands and feet are always really cold, or again, the exact opposite. So the thyroid is kind of a funny thing, because you can have pretty much one extreme or the other with a lot of their symptoms. So You can either be really cold, or if you're really hot all the time, that's another issue that can be affected by the thyroid. So temperature, metabolism, those are two really big things. Now, in terms of thyroid issues, they're really, really common. There's a really good chance that either you or somebody you know is affected by thyroid issues. They're a really huge and really, like I said, common problem affecting people all over the world. They are more commonly found in women than men. In the documentary, they were saying that for every one man that's diagnosed, typically 5 to 8 females are diagnosed. So in terms of fertility, like, it's really important that you get checked out if you're, if you've been trying for a lot of years and nothing's happening, or you just feel that something's not quite right, go get your thyroid checked, because it is super, super common and very often not diagnosed properly. So be sure to get that checked out. Also, if you have already had one child or 2 children or whatever, and you're having fertility issues now, sorry, I'm like out of breath. Thyroid issues are really common to happen after you've already had a pregnancy and after you've already had children. So it's interesting because if you're a new mom and all of a sudden you start complaining that your hair is falling out and you're like so exhausted that you're sleeping for like 12 hours a day and you cannot keep your eyes open, and all these things are happening to you and you just kind of feel like a crazy person, you're having a lot of depression, anxiety, a lot of people just shrug it off and say, oh, those are just new things that new moms experience, right? Whereas it could actually be a thyroid problem. So if you are going through that and you really just feel like something's not right and it's more than just adapting to this new life that you have, then again, go get it checked out. And I'll talk about it in a minute, about what some of the impacts can have on your fertility and future children. So definitely keep that in mind. So some of the issues that thyroid can have and some of the symptoms that you want to watch for, like we already talked about a few of these, but hair loss. So this includes from the top of your head. If you're losing a lot of hair, that's not really normal. If you have really dry, brittle, kind of frizzy hair, that's a symptom of thyroid potentially. Also, not just the hair on your head, but your eyebrow. So if you're missing like a third of your eyebrow, that's a really common symptom of thyroid issues. So go talk to your doctor for that one. Let's see, what else? Vertigo is a common one. Extreme exhaustion, and I mean like extreme exhaustion. Some of the ladies in the video talked about like they were falling asleep at the table. The one woman was saying that she used to let her kids play in their room, and then she would leave their room and close the door because she knew they'd be safe in there, and she would curl up outside their door and have a nap because she's just so tired that it's hard to function. It's like extreme exhaustion. Anxiety and depression are big ones. A lot of the mental health, mood disorders, these things are associated with poor thyroid functioning. Again, difficulty balancing your weight, so they're really highs, they're really lows. If you are one of those people who have a little bit of extra weight that you're trying to lose and it's just not happening, or you're a really tiny person and you've been trying desperately to put on weight, both of these things can affect fertility, and both of these things can be impacted by your thyroid, so something to think about. Along with mood, brain fog, if you have really difficulties like thinking clearly and concentrating, that can be a symptom of thyroid. Gut issues. Gut issues come down to a lot of different things in the body, but if you have leaky gut, that's another potential issue that could be connected to thyroid. And they say that everyone that has hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune version of thyroid issues, they have leaky gut syndrome. So what that means, in short, I guess, it's kind of a whole topic on its own, is that your intestines actually are permeable, so food is getting through. You have holes in your body, so things that aren't supposed to get through there are getting through, which can cause your body to start attacking them and can create all sorts of issues. So if you have food sensitivities or intolerances, these are connected with leaky gut and gut issues. So it's something to consider. And a lot of times after you've healed your body and you can close up those holes. It's not like a lifelong sentence by any means. So a lot of people who have food sensitivities or intolerances, after you've healed your body a little bit and those holes have closed, you can go back to eating a lot of those foods that you might not have been able to tolerate earlier. So important to note that. Excuse me, I'm just going to take a quick drink. One of the other things, and kind of the main thing that I'm sure you're here to talk about today, is fertility struggles. So fertility struggles are really common with thyroid, and that includes miscarriages, as well as not being able to get pregnant, and as well as children born with developmental disabilities, which I didn't know that one, so that was really, really interesting. I just want to see if I wrote that down for later. No, okay, so yeah, it's yeah, I'll talk about that one a little bit more later, actually. I don't want to get too carried away. So some of the root causes and kind of how thyroid issues can come up are things like genes. So it does have genetical tendencies. However, it's important to note that just because this runs in your family, just because you might have the genes for thyroid issues, really, or any issues at that, doesn't mean that you have to get them. Doesn't mean that you're for sure going to have thyroid issues just because your mother and your aunt did or whatever. Your genes can really strongly be impacted by environmental triggers. So this is actually a really cool, interesting topic, is epigenetics. So that's where they talk about things like how our environment can really help determine what genes are turned on and off in our body. So just because we have those genes, it's good to think of them like a light switch. So you can actually affect if they're turned on and you're getting the negative effects or positive effects from these genes, or whether you can shut it off and block those things. So without getting too technical, that's kind of epigenetics in a nutshell. And things like toxins, so whether this is like bath and body products, household cleaners, different foods that you eat, nutrient deficiencies, leaky gut, like we talked about, holes in your intestines where the food can get through. If you have more questions about that, just message me and we can talk more about that, because that's a big issue on its own. Those are things that can be factors in turning these genes on and off. So a lot of your environmental factors, so smoking, like those sorts of things, can help turn these genes on and off. So just because you have the genetic makeup to for thyroid issues, for example, doesn't mean that you have to experience them. So making these healthy lifestyle choices and changes can really help with this and help to keep things in control and maintain that healthy lifestyle really, really well. So again, how are all these things related back to fertility? And let's see. So like I said, fertility is commonly known to be affected with people affected with, you can tell it's mid-afternoon. Fertility is commonly known to come into play with those who have thyroid issues. It's not uncommon at all, unfortunately. The thyroid really plays a huge, I can't think of the words today. I should have just wrote this all out and just read it instead. My brain's not working very well right now. Yeah, the thyroid is a huge player in balancing out your body, and just in general. If things aren't quite right in your body, then your brain's really smart, your body's really smart. They all work together, and it's going to say, nope, you know what? I'm working too hard right now at trying to balance things out. It's not the right time to conceive. So, that's going to be a factor in helping you get pregnant. If your body's working too hard at other things, you might have difficulties. Also, if you don't have enough nutrients in your body, which is pretty common with thyroid, because of the leaky gut, you're not breaking down the foods the way you should be, which means that you're not absorbing the nutrients the way you should be. So if you're really low in nutrients, you're going to have difficulties conceiving. Plain and simple. Nutrients are the foundations of what make up your body, so they help keep things moving, and your hormones aren't going to be properly balanced and all sorts of fun stuff if you don't have the proper nutrients in your system. And let's say that you didn't have the proper nutrients in your system and you did happen to get pregnant. You're probably going to have a bit of a rough pregnancy, to be honest, because that baby's going to take all of the nutrients that you have. So it's important that you get your nutrients topped up. You don't want to be going through pregnancy and feeling totally exhausted all the time, feeling nauseous. Pregnancy does not have to be like that at all. And if that's the way you're starting out this new journey, it's probably not going to go uphill from there. So really important that you take a look at where your nutrients are and get them to where they should be. And that can, like I said, be a root cause of your thyroid issues. So getting those things sorted out is really important. Now, so people who suffer from thyroid issues can struggle with getting pregnant. They can also have miscarriages. Now, some of them do get pregnant. A lot of people go undiagnosed with thyroid issues and do end up getting pregnant. However, the risk for health problems in their children greatly increases, which is pretty scary. So in the documentary, they're talking about those with Hashimoto's, which, like I said, is the autoimmune version of a thyroid problem. Not a version, but a type of thyroid problem. They have an 80% higher risk of their children having autism. 80%! Like that's just crazy. I didn't know that. There are many factors that are involved in this, but a lot of them come back to really creating that healthy lifestyle habits and that, good diet, and reducing the toxins in your environment. So they're things that we can manage. They're things that we can prevent. So, don't hopefully be overwhelmed by this and thinking, oh my gosh, we'll never be able to get this under control. You can take control of it and get things balanced out. It's definitely possible. Other issues associated with thyroid problems, when it comes to once you've conceived in children, the risk for Down syndrome and ADHD also increase. So definitely something that you want to look into, get confirmation if you think you might have it. If you're not sure, if you've been trying for a long time and things just aren't working, just go get it checked out. That's all I can say. It doesn't hurt to go get some blood taken and get some answers. It doesn't really cost anything. Well, if you're in Canada, it shouldn't cost anything. Your family doctor should be able to do that for you. I'm not sure about in the States how much blood work costs or anywhere else, but it's not typically too expensive. So go and get that taken care of. If you are having problems or really not sure, just go and do the blood work. You'll know for sure. Now the testing to do. So a lot of times if you go to your doctor and you say, hey, I think I have a thyroid problem, do you think you can test my thyroid? What they'll do is they will check for your TSH levels, which is your thyroid stimulating hormone. That's all fine and dandy, but there's a lot of other things that they should be checking as well, because the TSH levels won't necessarily give you the answers that you're looking for. That's only one factor in a whole bunch of different things. So the blood work that you should be asking for is your reverse T3, TSH, I'll learn to say that by the end, free T3, and free T4. And the really, really important one is your thyroid antibodies. So the two main thyroid antibodies that you want to ask for are your TPO and your TG. Don't worry too much about all the technical stuff. Just write them down and you can ask your doctor to do them. They should know what you're talking about. So, for example, if they're just testing your TSH, that's the last time I'm going to say that, levels. If you have something like Hashimoto's, it can take a long time for that to show up in your TSH results. So, like 10 plus years, actually. It's a really long time. And by that point, there's probably already been damage done to your thyroid. Whereas if you check your antibody levels, it's going to tell you a more definite yes or no if there's an issue, and you can work on more preventative things and helping it right from the beginning. You can catch it a lot sooner than if you wait for your TSH levels to be showing you the impact. So really important that you get your antibodies checked. And again, I'll just go over those tests one more time if you didn't catch them. They are the reverse T3, TSH, free T3, and free T4. And then the thyroid antibodies test. So the two there that you want to get are your TPO and the TG antibodies. Okay? And when it comes to just the last thing here, and then we'll head out, your TSH levels, if you're looking at conceiving, if you're in your first trimester, you really want to be at 2.5 or lower. So if you're higher than that, get in and get looked at by your doctor, because thyroid is like a huge factor in brain development in a growing fetus. So you don't want to have thyroid problems while you're pregnant. You really want to get that taken care of immediately. So 2.5 or lower in your preconception and first trimester, and once you're in your second and third trimester, 3 and under for TSH. Okay? And I just said it properly, so I'm going to end it there so that I don't have to say it again. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and if you have any questions about this, feel free to message me on Facebook, feel free to send me an email. If you head over to my website, again, www.katiekahvo.com, you can check out all my previous blog posts. I have a video for a few things you can start now to actually help improve your fertility, and lots of other great information. So head on over there and check it out. And yeah, I hope to talk with you soon. Bye. Thanks everyone.